Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you are having a wonderful weekend. Uh, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I was meditating, and somehow uh, I could not forget that there was something that I really needed to express. Sometimes we go through different things, and while going through these experiences, there's a certain healing that takes place. Years ago, I was dating this guy, and I got very close to his daughter and his son, both very beautiful children. And the daughter was going through something at the time. And in the midst of soothing a person, it's really hard to get all of your words in, or should I say your words through. Because when a person is in pain, they're hurting. They don't hear everything that you're saying. Some goes in and some is not taken in quite well because they're going through a certain process, a healing process. They're not going to hear all of your words because all they know is the pain that they're experiencing. So as the story goes, the young lady was going through something with her mate, and she was really disgruntled, upset, and hurting because of all that she had endured with the man. And I was trying to tell her that sometimes when we're going through something, we don't see the full picture. Others on the outside might see more than we do. And at the time, I don't know, I was holding her, trying to support her through what it was she was going through. And I couldn't help but see that she had chosen a mate that was an unhealed younger version of her father. Some of the things that she was experiencing, I'm sure, that maybe she had observed through her own childhood. Now, my major was not psychology, let's just be honest. When I was even taking my psychology classes, I enjoyed learning a great deal, but I think experience has put me in a whole different perspective of what it was that I learned. But I was able to make the necessary connections to what I'd learned and what I'd experienced. So I felt that I did have some insight. I was trying to tell her that the person who she was dating, she either needed to try to heal the process through maybe taking some counseling with her mate, or, either way she was going to have to sort through and work through this process if she wanted to keep this person in her life, because they had children. And one thing you don't want to do is to continue a negative cycle, and especially in our families, because this is something that we've done too often. So I was trying to explain to her that she was with a person who had, she was able to see that the mate that she'd had certain things in common with her father. And sometimes it's not so easy for you to see that. So it was really good that she was able to make the necessary connection. And I was telling her that, nobody's perfect, but if she was able to sort through the experience, she might be able to, gain more out of it. But I don't think, again, that she was able to pick up on all that I was saying, because, again, she was in an emotional state at the time. I believe that us, the individuals who've been through more, are able to to share our insight with younger versions of ourselves, meaning the youth. Sometimes it's very difficult to explain certain things when a person is going through such an ordeal and is in such an emotional state. So the person, I believe that she probably did not get the whole thing, because when the story spiraled around, through a third party and got back to her father, he was very upset. And he was very disappointed because he did not hear this version of it through me. Now, again, whenever you're dealing with a family, and a family who really is going through certain things, it's not so easy for people to basically take in all that you are giving. We want to help sometimes, and when you're trying to help others, you try to give your heart, you try to give the version of you that really wants to help eagerly. But again, when a person is in an emotional state, they're not able to pick all this up. We are all going through our own process of learning and healing and transition during this time. Whether it be a holiday or not, we are all trying to improve. And while we're trying to heal, our country, our world is going through its own healing process as well. We definitely need to be in prayer during this time. We have a lot of going on with our government, as well as us as people. The economy, the minimum wage has not gone up in certain states, and yet the cost of living has gone up. If we're not praying, we might be complaining, and complaining is all too easy. But while we're doing all this complaining, is it helping anyone? It can't help anyone when you're complaining. And nobody's perfect. I mean, I go through my own spurts of complaining, and I have to take that moment. But if we're healing, and you are fortunate enough to have a person who you can pray with, who you can speak with, who you can heal with, that is a gift. And something that I think sometimes we tend to take for granted. And in all of our relationships, we have a tendency to take certain things for granted. I probably shouldn't even be up at this hour because I got to go to work. And, Monday's almost here. Well, actually, it is here. But in all actuality, when we're going through so much, we need to be in prayer, because let's just say we're all going through our own bittersweet moments. Recently, I was contacted by, what is the name of this company? It was an online purchase that was made under my name. And I could almost figure, I knew who the person was, even though the person was trying to be sneaky about it. Because of the purchases, I knew, when you know a person, you know them well enough to know what they're capable of doing. And although sometimes your heart would say, no, this person would never do this, sometimes you know the truth. And God clarifies things all too well. So, again, we are all going through something. And sometimes people look at you and they see you in a different light. They might think that you are not as intelligent, or that they can get away with so much. A whole community of people thinking that one person does not know what is going on, when they know that there's a great deal going on. 4 people coming together to destroy one person. Or place it's not destroying, maybe it's just taking more than you deserve. You could have a meal, and you could place this meal before so many people, and you can look and say, okay, they're enjoying their meal, and you can pick up the dishes and put them in the dishwasher, clean up the house, and go to bed. But consciously, can you consciously sleep knowing that you've taken something from a person and feel good about it. A community of people got together and thought it was okay to steal from one person. You know, I would not be able to sleep comfortably if I took something from another person. You know, recently I found that there was a person who was at their job hacking into my account, hacking into my technology, my phone, my computer. And while hacking into this account, it's almost as though they were trying to get attention. When you don't speak to a person for a period of time and they feel broken, not everyone does this, but this certain sister decided that it was okay to hack into my different devices. And they thought that this would get my attention. See, negative attention is still attention. But this goes back into your childhood, the way that you were able to handle and get away with so many different things. We are going through right now different cycles, and people are now waking up and starting to realize that all these wonderful technologies people try to hack into and take advantage of people with, the wake-up call is now. There's going to be a lot of people going to jail, a lot of people being put away because of unhealed versions of themselves. You know, a stepmother cried out years ago to go get counseling for the family. My father said, no, we don't need it. We don't need to share our business with somebody. And when you look at the family breakdown, this is the reason why it is easier for me to see when the family breakdown is happening in another family, because I know it all too well from my own experience, you know. When you experience it on a first level, it's not hard for you to see the breaking down and the process of it with other people, you know. And it's disappointing and it's very painful when you see it happening to other people, because it's like a memory, or it's like a wake-up call to yourself, you know. I've raised so many children throughout my lifetime, in my classroom, my younger siblings, you know, and although I've learned so much, you know, I've grown as well. I don't hold the bitterness, but I do hold the truth. The inconsistencies and the thought that a person closest to you could be so would be so quick to steal from you. This is quite a world we're living in. And I would hope that people would learn from my experience so that they don't have to repeat the same process. I would hope that you would think before you touch someone else's garment. We are all going through our own series of healing, and I really pray for those of you who are about to go down based upon the choices that you've made. Now, I started off with talking about a person who I love dearly. You know, I that is one thing I can't help but do, is to love. And I pray that this young lady has moved on in her life and is growing fruitfully, because now she has 3 beautiful children. And she, you know, I send love to her, because this is one young lady who has always been vibrant. And even when going through these changes with her maid and her father, she has not only grown, but she chooses to connect with them beautifully. She chooses to communicate beautifully. She does not give up. And that's one thing that I so much am proud of her with, through. She knows who she is, so I don't have to say her name. And my ex, who raised such beautiful children, I'm so proud of you as well. But it is something that I think we all have to do, is we have to tap in to the versions of ourselves that are to be improved. Meaning, whether you're going through counseling, whether you are choosing to write, journal, we are all going through different versions of ourselves. And hopefully, prayerfully, we will continue to grow through tapping in and looking at ourselves, evaluating where we are and where we need to, step up. Because in our society, we don't all have to buy into the negative things that people are doing. What we have to do, though, is to tap in to try to improve ourselves. If we did something wrong, it does not hurt to go and apologize to the people that we've hurt. It does not hurt to tap in and to meditate and to take the circumstances to God. Because in the end, we must improve.